Hey YouTube, I am working. Hold on. Hey y'all, I am working. I'm trying to make sure that y'all can hear me because sometimes I have volume off. Welcome to all my new subscribers. Whether you're here for the show or the knowledge, welcome. I want you all to go over to my Twitter and follow me. I'm Urban Intellectual at StylesbyNina on Twitter. I want you to also check out my Instagram page. Follow me on Instagram, StylesbyNina LLC. This is my business page, but I still drop a lot of truth because that's what I'm about. And thank you to all of those of you that continue to come here, have subscribed, liked, and commented. Nothing but love to you all and your families. I was debating whether it was going to be William Cooper or the View of the Hebrews. So we're going to try to get some of this. I read here. I'm trying to pick up where I left off. Okay. I left off right here where it says they still have too many people there. Civil wars are somewhat drawn out ways to reduce population. The quickest way to reduce population is through famine, like in Africa, or through disease like the Black Death, all of which might occur in El Salvador. His budget for FY 1990 was $190 million. For FY 1981, it was $220 million. The Global 2000 report calls for doubling that figure. Ugh, hate having that around my neck. Henry Kissinger created this group after discussion with the leaders of the Club of Rome during the 1974 population conferences in Bucharest and Rome. The Club of Rome is controlled by Europe's black nobility. Alexander Haig. Sorry. Oh, hold on, y'all. On me. Okay. Alexander. Okay. I'm so annoyed. Sorry, y'all. Lost my track. Okay. I hope everybody had a good day. I did. I went walking and I vlogged for y'all, but then I realized maybe I didn't get it. We shall see. Excuse me. Once I find out if I did get it on camera, I'll upload it. Alright. Well. Then I have a call. Hold on, y'all. Y'all are working hard for my money. Okay. So I'm back. And I think I found my place. His budget for FY 1980 was $190 million. For FY 1981, it was $220 million. The Global 2000 report calls for doubling that figure. Henry Kissinger created this group after discussion with leaders of the Club of Rome during the 1974 population conferences in Bucharest and Rome. The Club of Rome is controlled by Europe's black nobility. Alexander Haig is a firm believer in population control. It was Haig that backed Kissinger and pushed the OPA into action. Ferguson said, We would go into a country and say, here is your goddamn development plan. Throw it out the window. Start looking at the size of your population and figure out what must be done to reduce it. If you don't like that, if you don't want to choose to do it through planning, then you'll have an El Salvador or an Iran or worse, a Cambodia. The real reason the Shah of Iran was overthrown was that his best efforts to institute clean programs of birth control failed to make a significant dent in the country's birth rate. The promise of jobs through an ambitious industrialization program encouraged migration toward overcrowded cities like Tehran. Under Ayatollah Khomeini, the clean programs have been dismantled. The government may make progress because it has a program to induce up to half of Tehran's 6 million residents to relocate. Iran's war with Iraq really pleased the OPA. Now you know about the Shah, and now you know part of the reason we have troops in the Middle East. Marcos fell victim to the same policy. Daniel B. Luton had this to say: an organization cannot have a conservation policy without having a population policy. The sanity test in which the candidate confronted with an overflowing sink is classified according to whether he reaches for the mop or the faucet. Thousands of people, mostly civilians, are killed in El Salvador's civil war each year to accomplish what the State Department deems adequate population control. The Civil War would have to be greatly expanded, according to Thomas Ferguson, the Latin American case officer for the OPA. El Salvador was targeted for population control and war in April 1980, population report published by the National Security Council. El Salvador is an example of a country with serious population and political problems. The report states rapid population growth, the birth rate has remained unchanged in recent years, aggravates its population density, which is already the highest on mainland Latin America. While a population program exists on paper, it has not been pursued with a strong commitment, and contraceptives remain unavailable. The population program really did not work, OPA's Ferguson said. The infrastructure was not there to support it. There were just too many goddamn people. If you want to control a country, you have to keep the population down. Too many people breed social unrest and communism. Something had to be done. The OPA official said the birth rate is 3.3%, one of the highest in the world. Its population, he complained, will double in 21 years. The Civil War can help things, but it will have to be greatly expanded. In making sure that the population falls in El Salvador, Ferguson said the OPA has learned a lot from its experiences in Vietnam. We studied the thing. That area was also overpopulated and a problem. We thought that the war would lower the population, and we were wrong. Now you know what we were really doing in Vietnam and why we were not allowed to win, according to Ferguson. The population in Vietnam increased during the war, despite U.S. use of defoliation and a combat strategy that encouraged civilian casualties. Now you know why those of us in the know consider Lieutenant Calley to be a scapegoat. To reduce population quickly, said Ferguson, you have to pull up all the males into the fighting and kill significant numbers of fertile childbearing age females. He criticized the current civil war in El Salvador. You are killing a small number of males and not enough fertile females to do the job on the population. If the war went on 30 to 40 years like this, then you might accomplish something. Unfortunately, we don't have too many instances like that to study. To aid you In your research of this travesty, the names of the significant reports are the population bomb by Dr. Paul R. Elfrich. His wife Anne is a member of the Club of Rome. The Global 2000 report to the President and the Limits to Growth, a report for the Club of Rome's project on the predicament of mankind. In 1968, the study began publicly in the Accademia di Lincei in Rome, Italy. The study had been ongoing in secret ever since the initial findings of the Huntsville meeting of 1957. They met at the instigation of Dr. Aurelio Passi, the first real public indication of their findings, and the solution that had been decided upon was publication of the book, The Population Bomb, in May 1968. Notice how close the dates are. On page 17 of The Population Bomb, a telling paragraph reveals all there is to know. In summary, the world's population will continue to grow as long as the birth rate exceeds the death rate. It's as simple as that. When it stops growing or starts to shrink, it will mean that either the birth rate has gone down, the death rate has gone up, or a combination of the two. Basically, then, there are only two kinds of solutions to the population problem. One is a birth rate solution, in which we find ways to either lower the birth rate, The other is a death rate solution, in which we find ways to raise the death rate. War, famine, pestilence find us. The problem could have been avoided by population control, in which mankind consciously adjusted the birth rate so that a death rate solution did not have to occur. The recommendations of the results of the study were made by Dr. Aurelio Passi, who pledged not to use the prophylactic and not to take the cure should the microbe be developed and should he contract the disease. Dr. Passi was considered a hero for deciding to take the same risk as the general population. The public results of the study were published in 1968 and again in 1972. The MIT project team members that developed the computer model study are listed below. And these are the people. Germany, mostly the United States. Now, when the study was completed in 1969, UN Secretary General U. Thant of the United Nations made this statement: "I do not wish to seem overdramatic, but I can only conclude from the information that is available to me as Secretary General that the members of the United Nations have perhaps 10 years left in which to subordinate their ancient quarrels and launch a global partnership to curb the arms race, to defuse the population explosion, and to supply the required momentum to development efforts. If such a global partnership is not forged within the next decade, then I very much fear that the problems I have mentioned will have reached such staggering proportions that they will be beyond our capacity to control." MK-Naomi was developed by the Special Operations Division SOD scientists at Fort Detrick, Maryland, under the supervision of the CIA. A reference to the project MK-Naomi can be found in the intelligence community by Fane E.T.A.L. Barker, 1977. Yeah, I'm going to stop right there, because I don't want to speed read to the next paragraph. So we're going to stop right there. Sorry. And I'm going to pick up in my next video, right here, and this is page 173. We're in chapter 9. 173 in chapter 9. I hope everyone is doing well. Peace and power to you. And I'll see you in a minute.